14th May, 2018, around 8 p.m. Cleveland police received a call in the evening on its emergency number 999. This call was made by Mitesh Patel. From his voice, it looks like he was very nervous and scared. He told the call operator that he had gone out of the house to get food for himself and his wife. And when he returned after taking his laptop from the workplace, he saw that the door of the house was half open. And then all his belongings were scattered, and his wife was lying unconscious on the living room floor. Mitesh told that his wife was bleeding from the nose, and she also had injury marks on her neck. It looked like someone had tied Jessica in the living room in such a bad condition, and there was tape on her mouth and feet. Jessica's hands and feet had become cold, and it was becoming very difficult for Mitesh to control himself. Then he go to second floor to check CCTV cameras in the house, but all the CCTV cameras in house were completely corrupted, and the hard drive containing footage was missing from the house. After which he called the police. After some time, police reached there with the team of doctors, immediately examined Jessica, but unfortunately it was too late. Jessica died on the spot. An important and surprising point came to light in the investigation, that there were no signs of any kind force entry in the house. Whoever had done all this had entered the house without any force. That means he was someone whom Jessica had met earlier. She knew from the very beginning that no valuable items were missing from the house. That means the criminal's only motive was to kill Jessica and to save himself. He had tried to give the whole situation an angle of theft and robbery. From the initial investigation, it was clear that someone known to Jessica and Mitesh was behind all this. But who was the person who took Jessica's life in such a vicious manner for a short time, and what was the real reason behind it? These questions are yet to be answered. Was also left? So let's learn more about today's case, which revolves around Jessica Patel murder case. Mitesh and Jessica lived in Leith, Middlesbrough Town, UK. This was a part of the city which was considered as safe and quiet because earlier there had never been any crime there. But after this incident, the local people were also scared, and since all the families lived there, now everyone was scared for their safety too. When Jessica's family received a call from the police, this news shook their whole city. They could not believe that their daughter was no longer in this world. They could not understand why anyone would want to take the life of an innocent girl like Jessica. Mitesh was in a bad state, so without any delay, Jessica's family immediately reaches out to Mitesh, take care of her and support her in difficult times. On seeing Jessica's sister Meenal, Mitesh breaks down and starts crying bitterly, placing his head on Meenal's shoulder. But Mitesh was the last person who saw Jessica alive. But even he had no answers to the questions of Jessica's family. Jessica and Mitesh neither had enmity with anyone nor any fight with anyone. Even in the neighborhood, their image was that of a sweet and lovely couple. Before we move ahead, let's know more about which type of person Jessica is. Jessica was born on 16th of September 1983 in Leeds, England. Jessica had a joint family, and she was the eldest among her 6 siblings. She was very obedient, and Jessica was fond of watching Bollywood movies from a very young age. She had grown up watching typical Bollywood romantic movies, and somewhere in her life too, she wanted a romantic love story. In 2002, Jessica took admission in De Montfort University for pharmaceutical studies. This is where she met Mitesh. In a very short time, they became good friends, after which they also got into a relationship. Jessica talked about Mitesh and her relationship. But unlike Jessica, Mitesh family was quite reserved and had traditional thoughts. Hence, after completing studies in 2009, Mitesh's family put pressure on him for marriage, and they wanted Mitesh and Jessica to get married as soon as possible. But there was still a year left for Jessica to complete her studies. But despite this, Jessica said yes to the marriage. Both of them get married in the same style that Jessica had always dreamed of. Everything was coming true like a dream. She was so happy. But after a few months, Jessica started seeing the difference between real life and dreams imagination. Just after 1 year of marriage, cracks started appearing in their relationship. Mitesh did not pay any attention to Jessica. Like a newly married couple, there was nothing between them, nor their relationship. There was neither emotional intimacy nor physical intimacy. If Jessica got anything instead of love, affection, and care, it was only loneliness. But the matter did not stop here. Mitesh had now become very controlling about Jessica. He stopped her from coming and going to her house. Even in emergency situations, he would refuse to let Jessica to meet her family members. When the fight escalated, he would not hold back from raising his hands on Jessica. The matter had come to verbal assault. And when she started crossing the limit of tolerance, Jessica told her sisters about it so that they could not believe it. It was difficult to understand how a person can change so much in such a short period of time. When Jessica's dad came to know about this behavior of Mitesh, he immediately went to Mitesh's house, but everyone there was busy to finding faults in Jessica. After all this, Mitesh did not want Jessica to meet his family more, so he started pharmacy business in Middlesbrough and moved about 100 kilometers away from home, after which both of them shifted there to save their marriage. She also got ready to stay away from the family, and Jessica started seeing this step with Mitesh as a new beginning. After shift there, Mitesh and Jessica created a small world of their own. Everything went well in life, but there was still something that Jessica was missing. Since Jessica and Mitesh had been married for 8 years, but there was no child of her own, and now Mitesh's family had started putting pressure on Jessica to have a child. According to them, if a child comes in their life, then all the problems going on between them will end. Both have had fertility issues due to which they had to resort to IVF. But finally, after almost 9 years of marriage, Jessica's 4th attempt of IVF became successful. And after so much struggle, now Jessica's dream of becoming a mother was finally going to be fulfilled. After 4 days, Jessica shared this good news with her family. She goes to meet the members and tell them, after hearing this news, all the family members were very happy for this new member. After all, their daughter was about to become a mother, but we can never guess what is going to happen in the next moment life. Jessica's family had no idea that this was going to be their last meeting with her, because the very next day, on the 14th of May 2018, Jessica was murdered. 17 May 2018. Days had passed, but the culprit was still not found. But the police who were investigating among all this noticed something. They could see CCTV cameras outside the house, but no one had mentioned them. When the police asked for the CCTV footage, he told that perhaps the thieves had also taken away his hard drive, which had all the footage in it. But after a little investigation of the house, they found that hard drive behind Mitesh's bedside drawer. Without wasting any time, the police analyzed all CCTV footages one by one, and very soon they find out who is behind Jessica's murder. Jessica's father, Patel, gets a call from the police. This was the person Jessica's family had never expected in their dreams, which is none other than Mitesh Patel. After this, the police immediately arrested Mitesh from his house. There was only one question in everyone's mind: what was the reason behind Jessica's murder? Mitesh told the police that when he went out of the house, someone had murdered Jessica in his absence. But in the CCTV footage, no one was seen coming or going inside after Mitesh left. When the police interrogated this matter a little harshly, Mitesh got so nervous that he changed his statement. He told the police that he had neither come home nor met Jessica since 3 p.m., but in the court he denied this too, and then stuck to his earlier statement. After Mitesh's slip-up, it was as if the whole situation had gone against him, and one by one, all his secrets started getting revealed to everyone. The police find a duct tape while investigating Mitesh's house. When the endings of that tape are magnified and seen, it is proved that the same tape which was used to tie Jessica. Now, police also found 4 empty syringes from house in which insulin was found. Mitesh first gave overdose of insulin to Jessica so that her body became immobilized so she could not fight back. Since Mitesh had his own pharmacy, hence arranging these injections, it was no big deal for him. The police also found how to tide your wife an insulin overdose like topic found in the search history, which he had searched many times before the murder. In their final investigation, police found a health tracker app in the phones of both Jessica and Mitesh. This app tracked all the activities of both of them were recorded, and this was going to prove be a very important evidence for the police. During time when Jessica's heartbeat had stopped, Mitesh's heart rate was the highest, because he went up and down the stairs several times continuously, due to which the police had guessed that during this time, Mitesh was busy in spreading all the things, after which Mitesh had called the emergency number. The police now had a lot of evidence to present in the court, and after all this evidence, on this basis, Mitesh was also declared a criminal. Now everyone knew that Mitesh had murdered Jessica, but the reason was still to be known. But Jessica's family would still have 6 months to hear the whole truth. November 2018. It had taken 6 months for Mitesh's trial to start. After the trial started, Mitesh finally revealed his entire truth to everyone. 14th May 2018 around 7 p.m. After working long hours in the pharmacy, Jessica was going to her home, but she did not know that Mitesh was already waiting for her in the house. As soon as Jessica entered her house from the main gate, Mitesh attacked her. First, Mitesh made Jessica fall on the ground, started strangling Jessica, and then put a polythene bag on Jessica's mouth and kept suffocating her for 20 minutes. Mitesh strangled Jessica with so much force that even the bones of her voice box were broken. Jessica struggled for her life for 20 minutes. During this time, she also tried to fight with Mitesh and hurt Mitesh's neck with her nails. But even after all these efforts, Jessica could not save herself. After hitting Jessica, Mitesh tied her hands and legs with duct tape and spread all the stuff in his house here and there, after which Mitesh left for a pizza shop near his house. He deliberately reached the shop and also texted Jessica that he had picked up the pizza. There was not a single regret. He was talking very casually to the staff working there, as if nothing had happened. Then, after coming home from the pizza shop, at 8:20, Mitesh calls 999 emergency. Mitesh very cleverly trying to hide this crime, but he did not know that this call made to show his innocence would cost him heavily. After this trial, which lasted for 12 days, Jessica's family had come to know how did he kill Jessica, but why. This truth was also going to be known to them very soon when the investigation of Mitesh's phone started. Mitesh was cheating on Jessica. He was in an extramarital affair. Not only this, Mitesh was gay. Mitesh was in a serious relationship with a person named Amit Patel since 2011. The police found the Grindr app in Mitesh's phone, which is a dating app like Tinder, but specifically for the LGBT community. From this app, the police also came to know that Mitesh, even before marriage, he used to talk many boys through this app. But after meeting Amit Patel in 2011, because both of them were in a relationship, hence, Mitesh had stopped using Grindr app. And all this information proof was clearly visible from the chat between them. For Mitesh, it was just a way to hide her sexuality from the whole world. Talking about all this has been taboo in the Indian community for years. It is believed that since Mitesh belonged to a traditional Indian family, he could never be honest with his family about sexuality. In their eyes, their son could never be gay, and hence Mitesh has always led a double life. When Amit shifted to Australia in 2016, Mitesh wanted to start a family with Amit and move to Australia. But to do this, he had to first remove Jessica from the way. Even this was not enough for Mitesh. His plan was not kill Jessica, but to steal her embryos developed through IVF. And this was the reason why, even after so many failed attempts, Mitesh kept insisting Jessica to continue IVF treatment. On Jessica's death, Mitesh was given a life insurance policy. He was also going to get £2 million. Hence, due to his selfishness and greed for money, Mitesh murdered her innocent wife, Jessica. Some sources said, it is said that Jessica had caught Mitesh's chats with Amit, which were similar to those between a boyfriend and girlfriend. She also confronted Mitesh about this. There was a fight between the two because for so long, Mitesh used to bring Amit his house, calling him a friend. After all the evidence and Mitesh's statement, Mitesh was finally proved guilty in the court, and he was convicted for the murder of his wife Jessica. Mitesh was sentenced to 30 years of life imprisonment. With all this, Jessica Patel's case ends here. Before you leave, I request all of you, if you like the video, don't forget comment, like, share, and subscribe.